Congratulations to the nominees. Thanks for being here. Ms. Freeman, if I could start with you, let's talk about Terrence Williams, if we could. This is someone who you represented in 1981. He committed a burglary. That next year, he committed armed robbery. He broke into the home of an elderly couple on Christmas Eve, I believe, woke them up by pressing a gun to their heads, fired that gun to threaten them into submission. Fortunately, nobody died in that incident, but as I'm sure you remember, others were not so fortunate. In 1984, while he was on release for that armed robbery, he murdered Herbert Hamilton by bludgeoning him with a bat and stabbing him 20 times with a 10-inch butcher's knife, and he then tried to set the body on fire. That is not, however, the murder for which he received the death penalty. 6 months later, he brutally murdered Amos Norwood. He drove this individual, the victim, to a cemetery, made him lie down near a tombstone, bludgeoned Mr. Norwood with a socket wrench and then a tire iron. Before using Mr. Norwood's credit cards to go on a shopping spree, he returned the next day and set Mr. Norwood's body on fire. The court record reflects that one of the motivations apparently for the crime was that Mr. Norwood was gay, and I haven't even listed all of his crimes. He was convicted by a jury of his peers. He was found to be eligible for the death penalty. He was sentenced to death, and then you intervened. And you argued for years that Pennsylvania law shouldn't be carried out, that he shouldn't be actually executed according to the laws of Pennsylvania. Numerous courts rejected the claims that you raised on behalf of this individual. Do you regret trying to prevent this individual who committed these heinous crimes from having justice served upon him?
Senator Hawley, my office was appointed to represent Mr. Williams for his post-conviction proceedings, and we did so as was our duty. And ultimately, Mr. Williams actually prevailed both in the United States Supreme Court as well as in the Pennsylvania courts because of unlawfulness that took place during the course of his conviction. And my colleagues and I pursued those available arguments under the law, and we did prevail.
Well, the death sentence was not carried out because of a technicality involving a justice on the Supreme Court, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, who refused to recuse himself 30 years later. It has nothing to do with the facts of the case. So what I hear you saying is you stand by the arguments you made that this individual should not be executed, that this sort of person, under Pennsylvania law, he was convicted, he was sentenced to death, and you argued for years, long before the recusal issue and having nothing to do with that, you argued that on the facts of the case, this individual shouldn't be executed despite the fact it was Pennsylvania law. I take it from that you're opposed to the death penalty as a matter of principle.
Thank you, Senator. My office, again, was appointed.
The room goes quiet. Then the questions hit hard. A Senate nominee is confronted with one of the most disturbing criminal records imaginable and asked a simple but explosive question. Do you regret trying to stop his execution? What follows is a jaw-dropping exchange over justice, duty, and the death penalty that has Washington buzzing.
My office, again, was appointed to pursue Mr. Williams' constitutional rights. And we raised a number of constitutional challenges, some of which actually, in addition to the recusal issues, did ultimately prevail. There was a violation of due process that was found.
But you say that, Ms. Freeman, but you get to choose as an advocate. I've been an attorney. I am an attorney now, former prosecutor, the attorney general of my state. You get to choose the arguments that you make. You get to choose how you defend your client. You chose to defend this individual and to seek to have the sentence he was given, to have it prevented from being carried out upon him. And I'm just, in light of these facts, I'm amazed by it. I'm also amazed at what the Pennsylvania Supreme Court Justice had to say about your office, which you've now twice referenced. He said, and this was in one of the cases in which you were involved, this is the Chief Justice of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. He says it has only recently emerged just how pervasive a presence your office, the Federal Community Defender's Office, has made itself in Pennsylvania capital cases, almost invariably without legitimate court appointment and without any Pennsylvania authorities' approval or role of oversight. This private group of federal lawyers pursuing an obstructionist, anti-death penalty agenda have essentially anointed themselves as statewide de facto capital defender's office. Common tactics of your office include multiple attempts to delay and obstruct cases like Mr. Williams, as well as attempts to unsettle and undermine Pennsylvania law. That's the Chief Justice of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Those are very serious allegations from the head of the court. If this is what your office was doing while you were there in these kind of cases involving people like Mr. Williams, how can we have any confidence that you will follow the law as a federal officer yourself?
I see that the time has expired. May I respond? Thank you, Senator Hawley. I understand that that was the position of the former Chief Justice of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. I can tell you that I represent individuals when I have been directed to do so by the court, and I fulfill my duty to zealously advocate for those individuals.
So he was wrong. The Chief Justice was wrong. He misstated the facts or was incorrect here.
Senator, I'm not sure exactly which cases he was referring to in that quote.
This is a concurring opinion of the Terrence Williams case.
Okay, I see. That was his opinion.
My time has expired, Mr. Chairman, and I'll have some additional questions for you, Mr. Freeman. All I can say is these allegations and this record, frankly, is extremely, extremely disturbing. And the idea that the Chief Justice of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court would talk about an obstructionist anti-death penalty agenda, attempts to unsettle and undermine Pennsylvania law, I suffice to say I have very serious concerns about your nomination. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next up, Senator Booker.
For more profound political discourse, please like, comment, and subscribe for more further insights.